Hello everyone, my name is Amol sir and this is first video lecture for class 9. Now begin with the class 9 syllabus. Last year in class 8 you are having a single teacher who holds the whole syllabus. But in class 9 your science syllabus is going to divide into 3 different streams, that is physics, chemistry and biology. So first begin with the introduction of class 9 science syllabus. Okay, so about your class 9 science syllabus, the syllabus is going to divide into physics, chemistry and biology. Out of these 3 subjects, physics and chemistry is with me. When we are talking about this physics, chemistry and biology, your syllabus is going to divide in this way. In physics we are having chapters like motion, number 2 force and laws of motion, number 3 we are having gravitation, number 4 we are having work and energy, and number 5 sound. So we are having 5 chapters in physics. Now talking about chemistry. In chemistry we are having first chapter, matter in our surrounding. Second chapter is matter around us pure. Number 3, structure of atom. And number 4, atoms and molecules. These are the chapters from physics and chemistry, and the remaining chapters are there from the biology. If you are talking about the biology chapter, your first chapter is cell, the fundamental unit of life. Number 2, tissues. Number 3, diversity in living organisms. Number 4, why do we fall ill? Number 5, these 2 chapters are there from general science but comes under biology, that is natural resources, and the last chapter is improvement in food resources. So this is about your syllabus. Your physics having 5 chapters, chemistry having 4 chapters, and your pure biology having the 4 chapters, and these 2 chapters are there from the general science but that comes under biology again. Okay, so we are having total 15 chapters, 5 plus 4 9 plus 6 15 chapters. Okay, so out of these 15 chapters, if we are talking about physics, okay, we'll talk about chemistry and biology in the further videos. Now talking about physics, we'll start with the physics. Now if these 2 chapters and half chapter of gravitation, it is there in term 1. If we consider for this year 8, your syllabus is yet to come. Okay, so motion, force and laws of motion and gravitation. Out of this gravitation, half chapter of gravitation in term 1 and the half chapter in term 2. So these 5 chapters are going to be divided into 2.5 chapter in term 1 and again 2.5 chapter in term 2. So this is about the introduction of your science syllabus for class 9. So now let's start with the physics subject and its first chapter, motion. Okay. Now so wherever you require to take the notes, pause the video and make your own notes, or I am going to share the notes with this particular video lecture. Okay. So talking about science class 9 physics. So first chapter from this, that is motion. The same chapter is there in class 7 maybe, but in 7 in the motion chapter we deal about the different types of motion. Okay. But in class 9 we are going to learn about the different aspects about motion, its physical quantity, and we are going to compare the motion. We draw some graph related to motion and also going to learn the kinematical equations of motion. So this is going to interesting. Okay. So from motion, the first thing we are going to learn what is mean by motion. When we think about the motion, the thing in our mind is motion is nothing but if any object changes its position. If any object changes its position, then we came to know that that object is in motion. Or we can say that if any object displaces from its initial position. Both are the same thing. If it changes the position, or we can say displaces from its initial position, means its position is going to change, then we can say that object is in motion. Yes, but before that, if object changes its position, then comes to know that object is in motion. But we must know, we must describe the position of an object. Then how to describe the position of an object? First we are going to learn about how to describe the position of an object. Okay. अगर आपको position पता होगी, then only we came to know that whether the object changes the position or not. So the first thing is you must have to describe the position of an object. Then find out whether that object changes the position or not. Okay. Then how to describe the position of an object? So we'll take an example. So suppose this is point A. Now how to describe the particular position of this point A? So your answer must be point A is on the whiteboard. Yes or no? Okay. So with the help of this whiteboard, by taking the help of this whiteboard, we describe the position of this point A. Yes or no? So now specify the position of this point A now. Now what is the position of point A? Obviously it is on the whiteboard, but now we can specify the particular position. Now what is the position of point A? Your answer must be 5 centimeter away from point B. Yes or no? What is the position of point A? 5 centimeter away from point B. Position of point A. How to describe the position of point A? 5 centimeter away from point B. And how to describe the position of point B? Your answer must be 5 centimeter away from point A. Yes or no? Okay. So A help us to describe the position of point B, and B help us to describe the position of point A. So we must require a point to describe the position of any object. So here we are having the first definition from this chapter. It is about reference point. What is mean by reference point? When we are talking about reference point, the position, or we can say the point which describes the position of any object. The point which describes the position of any object is called its reference point. So for example, A must be the reference point for B and B must be the reference point for A. Is it clear to all? So we'll require reference point to describe the position of any object. If the position is confirmed, then we can find out whether this position is going to change or not, whether that object is in motion or not. So is it clear about reference point? Yes. If we take another example, for example, suppose this is your classroom. So this is particular sitting arrangement in your classroom. So for example, Krish is sitting here. Okay. For example, Swara is sitting here. Yes. For example, Yash is sitting here. Pranali is sitting here. Okay. So then what is the position of Krish? How Krish describes its own position? So maybe in this way. First column, first bench, or with the help of position of Swara, Krish said that I am sitting in front of Swara. Yes. What is the position of Krish? Sitting in front of Swara. And what is the position of Swara? Sitting behind Krish. So Krish must be the reference point for Swara and Swara must be the reference point for Krish. Okay. For Pranali, sitting behind Yash, or for Yash, sitting in front of Pranali or sitting behind the Swara. So you are having two reference points. Is it clear to all? So reference point is nothing but the point which describes the position of any object is called as its reference point. Is it clear to all? Okay. Now, अब हमें position पता चल गई with the help of reference point. Now we can find out whether the object is in motion or not. So our next topic is about initial position, or it is also called as origin. Okay. Then what is meant by initial position? Means if the person is standing at point A and that person is going to displace from point A now to the point B. So object changes its position. Initially it is at point A and finally it is at point B. So A must be the initial position of this person, or we can say origin of the motion for this person. Okay. So what is meant by initial position? the point from which that object starts its motion. Okay, the point from which object starts its motion is called as initial position, or we can say origin. Done. Now again there is a next definition. Final position. The point at which objects end its motion. The point at which object end its motion is nothing but its final position, or we can say end point for that particular motion. Is it clear about these three definitions? Reference point, the point which describes the position of any object is called as reference point. If we take the example of any reference point, how to describe our address? In every address, every person describes its own place with the help of a certain famous place in that particular city. If I have to give my address, I am going to give my address in the way like my home is near the place Reddy Godown, because Reddy Godown is the famous place in Gadchiroli. Yes, so I have to take the reference of that particular Reddy Godown, and reference point is nothing but example as a landmark which describes the position of your place. This is nothing but reference point. Initial position, an object starts its motion from that particular point. Final position, an object ends its motion at that particular point is called as final position. Is it clear? Okay. Now so after getting the knowledge about the position of an object, how to describe the position of an object, now we are able to define the term motion. Now we are going to define this term motion. So what is mean by motion? Obviously, motion is nothing but change in position of an object, but this particular definition is there in class 7th maybe, but in class 9 we are going to elaborate this definition. We will give the specific definition for this. Okay, for example, change in position. Okay, so we'll take some examples for this. Okay, for example, this particular object or this particular person is person A and person B. Person A is 5 meters away from person B, or we can say person B is 5 meters away from person A. Okay. Now, if this particular person travels a distance in the forward direction, and this must be the final position. Okay, so this particular distance, for example, it is of 2 meters, and at the same time this particular object, or we can say person, travels the same distance and comes to the next position. At this position also, the distance between person A and B is again 5 meters. Is it clear to all? At initial position, the distance between person A and person B is of 5 meters. Both starts its motion and travel the same distance in the same straight line direction, and that distance is of 2 meters. So at the final position, again person A is 5 meters away from person B, and person B is again 5 meters away from person A. So now think about whether this object changes its position with respect to each other. Concentrate on my question. Whether person A changes its position with respect to person B. Whether person B changes its position with respect to person. Initially the difference between the two positions is of 5 meter. Finally also the difference between the two positions is again 5 meter. So object does not changes or the person does not changes its position with respect to each other. No doubt they travel certain distance, but both traverse the same distance in the same direction, and that's why initially they are having a 5 meter away from each other, and finally also they are 5 meter away from each other. So no person changes his position with respect to each other. I am talking about with respect to each other. So who is going to observe the motion? There is one observer. This is the half definition. The change in position. If you want to describe the motion, the change in position of an object with respect to surrounding, or simply we called it as observer. Who is going to observe? A is going to observe the position of B, B is going to observe the position of A. पहले एक दूसरे से 5 मीटर दूर थे. They travel certain distance in a straight line. अभी भी वो एक दूसरे से 5 मीटर ही दूर है. So object A does not changes the position with respect to B. Object B does not changes the position with respect to A. They both are at 5 meter distance initially and finally also. That's why they does not changes the position with respect to each other. So they are not in motion with respect to each other. Is it clear to all? Yes. Now another example. What is the meaning of this new term with respect to surrounding or observer? For example, this is our classroom. This is the sitting arrangement. So this is our 3 students A, B, C and so on. Okay. And this is me. Now I am, for example, 1 meter away from student B. Teacher is 1 meter away from student B. Okay. Now this particular teacher travels a distance. Initially मैं यहाँ पे हूँ 1 meter away from student B. Now मैंने थोड़ा distance travel कर लिया. Yes. Now for example मैं यहाँ से यहाँ चला आया. Now I am 2 meter away. This is my initial position and this is my final position. Yes, initially I am 1 meter away from student B and finally I am 2 meter away from student B. So with respect to student B, teacher changes its position, yes or no? Initially it is 1 meter away from student B. Finally it is 2 meter away from student B. So with respect to student B, teacher changes its position, yes or no? So student B says that teacher changes its position with respect to me. So teacher is in motion. Is it clear to all? Teacher is in motion with respect to student B. I am talking about student B. If you take the example of C and A, your answer must be the different. Yes or no? उनके लिए भी तो position बदलती है ना? Okay. So with respect to student B, teacher is in motion because changes the position finally and initially. Okay, now what about teacher? हाँ सर, टीचर तो मोशन में, it is very easy to observe, but ask the same question to the teacher, whether that student B which is sitting on that particular bench, whether that particular student is in motion. Yes, your answer must be नहीं ना सर, वो तो बैठा है. Yes, it is not in motion, but ask the same question to the teacher. When the teacher is its initial position, what is the distance between the teacher and student? 1 meter. Now ask the same question to the teacher when it is at final position. Now the answer for that particular question is 2 meter away. Initially student B is 1 meter away from teacher and finally it is 2 meter away from teacher. So with respect to teacher, student B changes its position. सर कैसे? वो तो बैठा है, वो बैठा है, बट टीचर अपनी पोजीशन चेंज कर रहा है. With respect to teacher, student B also changes its position. Initially टीचर से स्टूडेंट कितना दूर है? 1 मीटर. फाइनली टीचर से स्टूडेंट कितना दूर है? 2 मीटर. सो विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू स्टूडेंट, टीचर इज इन मोशन. विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू टीचर, स्टूडेंट इज ऑल्सो इन मोशन. विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू आवर डेफिनेशन, द चेंज इन पोजिशन ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू सराउंडिंग और विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू ऑब्जर्वर, that who is going to observe the motion. Is it clear? We'll take other example also. For example, okay, just have a picture in your mind. I will give you the condition. Okay, for example, we all are going to travel in a bus. Okay, now the bus is on the platform. I am the driver of your bus. You are sitting at different places. Think about our bus having a number of students. We are going to a trip or tour. Okay, so 40 students are there in the bus and I am the driver of that particular bus. Okay, now the bus is on the platform and there is a particular bus in the next platform. Class A students are there in the first bus जिनका driver मैं हूँ, and class B students are there in the another bus. It is there on the platform. And the difference between these two buses is of, for example, 5 meter. यहाँ पे एक बस है, ये एक बस, ये दूसरी बस. सो यहाँ पे है स्टूडेंट A, यहाँ पे है स्टूडेंट B. A का फर्स्ट स्टूडेंट, B का फर्स्ट स्टूडेंट और ये मैं हूँ ड्राइवर. Yes or no? And this particular bus, for example, it is 5 meter away from each other. Is it clear? Now, A is in bus number 1, B is in bus number 2. These two buses were there on the platform. Okay. Now, A जब विंडो से बाहर देखता है तो उसे B दिखता है 5 मीटर अवे फ्रॉम. B जब विंडो से बाहर देखता है तो उसे A दिखता है 5 मीटर अवे फ्रॉम. इज इट क्लियर? दोनों बस अभी प्लेटफॉर्म पे ही है. सो ऑब्जेक्ट डज नॉट चेंजेस द पोजीशन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ईच अदर. सो दे आर एट रेस्ट, दे आर नॉट इन मोशन. बट इस बस ने प्लेटफॉर्म को छोड़ दिया. नाउ दिस पर्टिकुलर बस इज मूविंग इन अ फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन. मूविंग इन अ फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन. Now the distance is going to change. गाड़ी आगे निकल रही है. So this particular bus moves in a forward direction with respect to bus number 2. बस नंबर 2 के लिए बस नंबर 1 कहाँ जा रही है? आगे. So बस नंबर 1 के लिए बस नंबर 2 कहाँ जा रही है? पीछे. नहीं ना सर, अभी तो वो रेस्ट में ही है. नहीं, with respect to bus 1. For bus 1 B moves in backward direction. For bus 2, bus 1 moves in forward direction, bus 2 moves in backward direction. Are you getting me? Clear? So A जब विंडो से देखता है तो पहले भी कितने डिस्टेंस पे था, 5 मीटर, बट अब ये मोशन में आ गया. सो A ट्रैवल्स अ फर्दर डिस्टेंस, ये डिस्टेंस चेंज होते जाएगा, आगे आगे बढ़ते जाएगा, डिस्टेंस बढ़ते जाएगा. इनिशियली इट इज 5 मीटर, 6 मीटर, 7 मीटर, 8 मीटर, अब कुछ देर के बाद तो दिखेगा भी नहीं. Is it clear? So A changes the position with respect to B. B changes the position with respect to A. So A is in motion for B. B is in motion for A because both changes the position. Now think about the same bus. मैं ड्राइवर यहीं पे हूँ और ये A वहीं पे है. So inside the bus, driver does not change the position with respect to A. Student A also does not change the position with respect to driver. So for driver, student A is not in motion. For student A, driver is not in motion. अब ये बस आगे बढ़ रही है, यहाँ पे कोई पेड़ है. Bus moves in forward direction. So with respect to bus, this tree moves in backward direction. Sir, tree is at rest. हाँ. But with respect to bus, bus आगे जा रही है. With respect to tree पीछे पीछे जा रहा है. With respect to bus, so bus is in motion for tree is in motion for bus. मान लो यहाँ पे कोई बैठा है. So student A उसे देखता है. This is the initial position. जैसे जैसे बस आगे जाएगी, A की पोजीशन बदलेगी with respect to this person की पोजीशन भी बदलेगी with respect to student A. So this particular person is in motion for A is in motion for this particular person. So is it clear what is meant by surrounding and observer? Yes or no? मान लो कि मेरे जेब में मोबाइल है. Okay. Now with respect to you, with respect to this particular camera, I am going to change my position. पहले मैं वहाँ था, अब मैं यहाँ पर आ गया. Is it clear? बट मेरे जेब में वो मोबाइल जो है वो अब भी मेरे जेब में ही है. For this camera I am going to change my position. Yes or no? But the mobile in my packet does not change the position with respect to me. So for this camera I am in motion, continuously changing my position. But for my mobile, it is there in my packet. It does not change the position. अगर मैं मेरे मोबाइल को पूछूं I am in motion, तो वो कहेगा नहीं, it does not change the position. But इस कैमरा को मैं पूछूं, so yes, you are in motion because continuously changing the position with respect to me. Is it clear to all? Yes. So what is meant by motion? If the object changes its position, the change in position of an object with respect to surrounding, or we can say observer, then will reframe this particular definition. Hope you understand what is mean by the motion with these examples. So definition: if the object changes its position with respect to surrounding, then that object is in motion. So this must be the definition for motion. If the object changes its position with respect to surrounding, then that object is in motion. Now the definition for rest, when we can say that object is in rest. Now the definition for rest, it is too simple. If the object does not change its position with respect to surrounding, then that object is at rest. Are you getting me? If the object changes its position with respect to surrounding, then the object is in motion, and if the object does not changes its position with respect to surrounding, then it is at rest. Is it clear to all? So today we have learned about the different definitions with respect to chapter motion. Okay, the first definition is about reference point. The point which describes the position of any object is called as reference point. Example, landmark in our address. Next is initial position, the point from which we start the motion. Final position, the point at which we ends the motion. Then what is meant by actually the motion? Motion is if the object changes its position with respect to surrounding, then that object is in motion, and opposite of motion, rest. If the object does not change its position with respect to surrounding, then it is at rest. Is it clear? Hope you guys enjoy this video. If you understand the particular concept, like the link, subscribe our particular channel so that you are updated with the upcoming videos. Thank you so much.